Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to episode 4 of the Pop Off with Belle. I am your host, Belle, and I just want to start off by saying that I am proud of myself for making it to episode 4 of this because, listen, I have ADHD, and a lot of people understand where that comes from because you're thinking, am I lazy? Am I just procrastinating? Or do I not really want this? No, your brain's just trying to focus in on 50 million things at the same time. And also, too, my confidence has been shot this year. I discussed on one of my other podcasts with my friend Sam, who is a psychic. She's based in Texas now, about a lot of grief and a lot of things that I've been going through this year, especially turning 40 and still at this, media journey, being radio, trying to work my way to being on television and not just working in TV news, but actually being on TV. Also, too, I've been just dealing with having 40-year-old acne. You know how that goes down, right? But also, I kind of struggled with wanting to do an episode this week because, let's be real, my first 3 episodes barely cracked 20 views. Matter of fact, my most recent episode 3, just cracked 20 views because I used some social media prowess, using those trending sounds and stuff. It made people want to go listen to it. So I'm hoping that continues to work. But I realize this is something that I want to do for me. I'm even late in recording this video or recording this podcast today. Usually I try to record on a Thursday or a Friday because I get off work around 9 o'clock. And so I end up doing late recording. But my body was just exhausted. I was tired. And so today I am recording and we're going to get this edited and put up, which, by the way, editing is tedious. But I enjoy doing this. I love talking about pop culture and using relatability to listeners to want to stick around and listen. So, with all of that hoojah and doing all this, the whole point of this episode is about what happens when you stop letting other people's opinions get to you. Oh, this is a good episode, right? So let's go ahead and let's pop off here, all right? We're going to start off with Ayesha Curry and this Call Her Daddy episode, which, by the way, came out over a month ago. So I had no clue. I cannot tell you how everybody got in all of a sudden a uproar about. Hello? Oh, okay. Sorry, guys. I got a janky cord. Yep, I got a bit of a janky cord here, so sorry. I cannot tell you how everybody got in an uproar about her comments of being married and having kids, which of course she has 4 kids and she's married to Steph Curry of the Golden State Warriors. I don't know where Golden Bay came from at all. But in that, for one, I can tell nobody really listened to the entire 1-hour episode. Let's start there. And 2, people misconstrued her words because they actually want her life. I'm probably going to get a lot of what does she think she's talking about? She don't know what she's saying. She ain't got no man herself. You're right, I don't. I've been single for 7 years. Been single so a tired 7 years. But the point is, this episode came out over a month ago and people are now just talking about it and getting in an uproar. And this is why. Because Ayesha said she never wanted to get married or have kids before meeting Steph. Take a listen.
Did you always knew you wanted a big family?
No. So I didn't want kids. I didn't want to get married. I thought I was going to be career girl and that's it. And I had my eyes set on my goals. And I was never the little girl that dreamt about the wedding dress and all of that. And then it happened so early in my life. So it's it's one of those things you don't know what you actually don't know what you want.
Yeah, I don't see anything wrong with that. According to People magazine, she literally said she was a career girl who didn't see that life for herself. But then, Steph came along and boom, now she's married with kids. Things change. That's what life is all about. You can make plans all you want, And life will throw you some type of boomerang to change all that. It's called being experienced in life. Like, I'm pretty sure we all thought at one point we wanted to be married in our 20s and started to have our kids and then build our career. And now we're like in our late 30s, in our 40s, and we're not married, nor do we have kids. Or we're married, but we don't have kids. Or you have kids, but you're not married. Like, it's just so many things that could go along with that. Here's my problem, though. People took what she said in that first part and just ran with it. Because when you continue to listen to the episode itself, that woman loves her kids. And she loves that man. She loves her some Steph Curry, honey, which I don't blame her. You know, when you look at Steph Curry, you don't think he's that tall, but he's like over 6 feet. He's a good looking guy. He seems like he has a really big heart and a really nice spirit and soul, right? He made her feel safe. And he made her feel safe enough that she changed her plans and got married and got pregnant and started having kids. But in that, because he made her feel safe, made her feel secure, she was also secure in herself, because I don't think people realize her background either. Like, she graduated from high school early. And she was working 3 jobs in California trying to establish herself as an actress in LA before she reconnected with Steph. So she was already building on something. And here comes this man, and he's like, well, I want to be with you, and I'm going to make sure all your dreams come true. Dang, where my man like that? I'll get to that part. And they built something, you know? And now she's like older, and she's kind of like, man, here I am at 40, and I'm still trying to build my dreams. But she was already building them. She was already building them, because when I was listening to her podcast, she talked about how she started doing cooking segments, right? Because she got into cooking, and she had stopped. But then Steph encouraged her to go back into it. So she did. And she did them on YouTube, and she built that slowly to the point where they came to her and was like, hey, we love what you do. Why don't we give you a 30-minute slot and you can do a cooking segment, which she did. And she did that to the point where she got a show on Food Network. And she had a restaurant. She has restaurants. Steph continued to encourage her in her dreams. Even though she's a mother, she's a wife, she's taking care of these kids, she's make sure her husband's good. Somewhere in there, Steph made sure that she was good too, that she didn't lose herself. So, you know, here's my thing in that, because people are such in the uproar that she got married young and now she's like complaining, or to them that she's complaining. Why do people believe that all women should want marriage and kids in their 20s? Like, is that, I know we see it on television and we see it in the movies and all that stuff, but is it really the default dream? Like, when I think about when I was in my 20s, yeah, I'm gonna tell this story. I had a boyfriend. I was 21. I met this guy, which, by the way, this was after I had gotten pregnant and I had an abortion. Do not get up and uproar. I knew I was 20 and I knew I wasn't ready to be a mother, and I was in college and my focus was my education. And I met this guy after a couple of months after I had an abortion, and I started dating him. And he was a very abusive guy. I don't know why I kept getting in abusive relationships. I don't think I had very high self-esteem of myself. And we kept breaking up and getting back together. The dumbest thing ever. This dude was like 27. And so after I graduated from college, or I was finishing up school, I should say, I hadn't graduated yet. I was at my internship, and literally this was one of the times that we were back together, and he proposed to me. That sounds romantic, right? No. He proposed to me through text over the phone while he was living in Virginia, which, by the way, he was cheating on me. He proposed to me through text over the phone. I never got a ring or anything. This was his way of trying to keep me around. So I say that even though Ayesha's plans were to never get married and have kids, I say she was one of God's children, because she was able to get a man that was emotionally intelligent and mature enough to realize she was a good pickings. I know that's the wrong word to say. Was a good pickings, and decided to wife her up, but also support her in her dreams. Okay. Like, I think a lot of us women, we look at the rom-coms from the 90s and the early 2000s, and we're like, oh, that's the love that we want. So we think that's going to happen to us. And so when I think back and I think about her situation, I think back to when I was in my 20s, I thought that's what I wanted too, until I realized what I would have had to give up for these men that I was dealing with. And also, a lot of those men were complete and utter trash. I mean, abused, cheated on, gaslit, narcissist, like, whew, like it was hot dumpster trash. So the fact that Ayesha had other plans for herself before she reconnected with Steph Curry and was still able to achieve her dreams while being married and having kids back to back, I think that is a blessing. I think that is God's calling for her. She ran that back, and she's been able to build a steady career as a restaurateur, an entrepreneur, and an actress in a way, you know. And one thing I didn't know is she's Canadian. I did not know she was Canadian. I know that's a random fact for me, but I didn't know that. So yeah, so Ayesha's story hits because it shows that women should get to define their happiness on their own terms, not what other people think they should do or how they should be or what they should be doing with their life or anything like that. And if the right person comes into your life, that's cool, but it doesn't make your past feelings less valid in a situation. Like, you're able to do what you need to do for yourself. That right guy comes along and he makes you feel safe in what you're doing and he supports your dreams, bruh, I say go for it. Do not be afraid. I think I'm gonna have to sit down and write down the things that I want God to bring me. And that, I guess that means I'm gonna have to go outside. Because we know outside's expensive and it's raggedy right now. It's so raggedy right now. Everybody's just full of just like ridiculousness. And it makes you a little afraid to like open up your heart and be like, oh my God, like this person really does like me, right? I guess we'll see. Well, I guess we will see. Now let's talk about Taylor Swift. Man, Taylor Swift, because the Swifties and non-Swifties are going hard right now. Of course, Taylor Swift, she dropped her latest album, The Life of a Showgirl, last week, which sold 2.7 million in one day. Now, I love Taylor. Taylor Swift really has built a career on writing about her exes, for one, and for two, the fact that she was able to transition from country to pop real seamlessly is, I'm sorry, it's a feat. It's a feat because not many people are able to do that. Some people got to stay in their lane, you know. But here, I got to keep it real on this. Why do people hate listening to Taylor Swift's albums? People literally will go and listen just to go criticize. I've seen so many horrible critics about Taylor's newest album. Don't get me wrong, I listened to it too, and I got about halfway through it before I was like, wait, this is a new song? Wait, oh, the new song, this is a new song? I was like, oh, and I had to look down to see what the title of the song was. I'm just saying. But if you don't like her, then don't listen to her album. Don't take the time to listen because all you're doing is raising her numbers. Like, you're sharing in her success by hate listening to her albums. Now, listen, we know Taylor Swift is no stranger to criticism, and there's been a lot of early response to this album, okay? And she said, quote, during an interview with Zane Lowe, that she welcomes the chaos because the rule of show business is if it's the first week of my album release and you're either saying my name or my album title, you're helping. What did I just say? By hate listening and commenting and putting all that stuff out there, it makes people want to listen more. Okay? It makes them want to listen more. If you don't feed into it, the people are not going to bother with it. Because she even added in there, I'm not the art police. Well, she's not, okay? She's acknowledging that people will feel differently and they will judge differently because everybody has a preference in that. And that takes a lot of guts. You know, she puts her work out there, and I'm not going to lie to you. Her last couple of albums, probably more than that, have kind of sounded the same. I will say this. I'm glad she got away from that one producer. What's his name? Jack Antoff? Man, because I swear, all the albums that he produced with her sounded exactly the same. The only thing I will say is her album Midnights. I like that the Lavender song and Karma. And there was one other song I liked by her. And that's because I was on air in Albuquerque at the time, and I had to hear those songs all the time. But I ended up actually liking those songs, okay? So I ended up liking those songs. But in this case, the fact people are very much criticizing the new album. They saying it sounds terrible. They saying that she sounds like a little kid or a little girl, but she's 35 years old. So what do we do with that as listeners? You know, do we demand her to change, or, you know, do we accept her evolution in this? Did she really like grow on this album? Seeing how, like I said, personally, I listened to half of the album when I realized, like, oh, I'm halfway through the album because it sounded like one long track. And here's my issue with Taylor Swift, okay? In a way, she is still making the same type of music that she's been making since 1989. And before you drag 1989 was a bop. Now those songs were really good. Style was that girl. And Wildest Dreams, and you could tell I was really listening to the album. Hold on. Let me pull out my phone because I know I got her music saved somewhere. I got to get into my Tidal. And this is not sponsored by Tidal. Okay, I just want to put that out there. But on 1989, that's one of my favorite albums by her. And that's what made me really become somewhat of a fan. In all honesty and truth, I was a fan before that too. But yeah. Okay, here we go. So Taylor, 1989. So Blank Space, Style. I couldn't stand Shake It Off was everywhere. Oh my God, that song, that thing got on my nerves so bad. Oh, well, those were the only two songs. Style and Blank Space. I thought, and Wildest Dreams. Oh, and Bad Blood, but the remix with Kendrick Lamar. Not the original version. Kendrick Lamar version. I like that one. I was a Taylor Swift fan. Okay. Now, 1989, the year she was born, that album was a bop. But at some point, we do need to see some growth in her. Maybe a change of music or a change of style or something. Mix it up a little bit. Like, I know she's a pop girly now, but personally, I would love for her to return to her country roots. Yes, because her voice was a lot stronger with country too. With pop, when she does pop music, and this is just my personal opinion, I feel like she's kind of like stagnant with her voice. Her voice is not as strong in doing that. Now, I mean, she makes some nice little grooves, some elevator music. Swifties, don't attack me. I'm 40. This is not for me, but I'm going to talk about it. But I think that she should return to her country roots. Just like switch it up. Like maybe do 1 or 2 country songs on the next album or something like that once this dies down. I just, yeah. The Life of a Showgirl all sounds the same. I didn't even get to the song Wood, because that's the big song that they're talking about right now. But back to what I was saying. I love that she would get back to her country roots, because personally, I know she had other albums before that. But Red, even though it was pop country, that was a damn good album. I knew you were trouble when you walked in. Yes. We are never, ever, ever getting back together. Wee! And this was when CMT was big, you know, play the music videos. I knew all the songs on that album. That was a huge album. She was in her bag, but she also was in her 20s when she made that album. And she had something more to say, you know. I didn't think about the exes part. I just knew she was bopping on that album, and I related to a lot of that music. But now, her last albums, like I said, they just feel more recycled. It just feels like one long beat, no real change. And I do feel like her country roots, her voice is a lot stronger than her pop roots. Now, Taylor has the talent, and she knows she can do it. Don't let them country people run you out of country, because you did a good job on that, okay? Now, It's time to switch up your flavor of ice cream. Give us something different on that next album. Let Life of a Showgirl do her thing, whatever. You can take 3 or 4 years before you drop the next album. Just do something else. But also, people, okay, stop hate listening to Taylor Swift's album. Because when you do that, all you doing is raising up her streaming and still continuing the conversation. So she still is going to win. Now, I will say this. I think we probably a little lucky because my girl ain't doing a tour this time around. She said she's too tired. She did the Eras tour for 2 years. She need a break. So I hope she's not going down the Beyonce route. Just not giving us no tour, not giving us no visuals or nothing. Oh, she did give us a visual. Beyonce ain't gave us nothing. I think I'm going to talk about Beyonce and not giving us visuals in the next episode. I'm traumatized. Yeah, so Taylor has a lot of talent, but it's time to switch it up, sis. Give us some country music. Not that folklore that you put out. Some actual country music, okay? And you can even talk about Travis on it. Just don't do wood and country. Give us something else. Give us completely something else. Something totally different. All right? Now, this is for my coworker, my homie coworker Fidel, because he's been asking me to talk about Housewives. Since I started this podcast, he wants to come on here and he wants to talk about Housewives. So I was like, "Oh, this was perfect timing that this news came out because it gave me a reason to talk about the Housewives." All right, so let's pop over to Bravo because, yeah, the Housewives are a hot mess at this point, child. They doing too much. Okay, so this week, according to TMZ, Dr. Wendy Asafo, Dr. Wendy Asafo and her husband Eddie Asafo were arrested on fraud charges. You heard what I said. Fraud charges. Matter of fact, she just did an emergency episode with Carlos King on this, and I'm going to check that out. You got to add them to the list, though. They were charged with like multiple counts of fraud. I think it was like 18 or 24 counts. Man, it was major. And when you think about all of these things and how they all have been arrested or, talked about, or they've done like crazy stuff or whatever it may be, right? These housewives have lost their minds. And this is just the latest one. Now, Wendy is saying that the burglary, I guess, that they had at their house while they weren't home kicked all of this off. Now, according to TMZ and what I read in their article, Eddie had reported some things that were stolen that weren't actually stolen, and then they got paid off for it. It's a whole thing. They are out on bail. I feel like I should read out the actual of what they actually got charged for, and I know it's been like a whole day or so. So this is crazy. So when I find that article, let's see. We're gonna find this out. Okay. So Wendy and her husband, they were arrested for felony fraud charges. And Wendy is giving a whole bunch of things. But she said, this is what Wendy said in the TMZ article. She claimed that her husband claimed several designer bags and jewelry had been stolen from their home, but an investigation found Wendy bought and returned the items before the alleged robbery. And cops even claimed Wendy shared a pic on her socials after the alleged incident wearing a ring she said had been stolen. And it goes into deeper details. That's just like a portion of it. Wendy. I just knew that you was going to be above and beyond everybody else because you are a doctor, but I guess not. Okay. Here's my thing with housewives too. A lot of them are usually working regular jobs or they're actual housewives. And somewhere along the lines, once they get a season or two under their belt, they just completely change who they are as a person. Wendy left her job at Johns Hopkins, being a teacher, being a professor, and doing commentary for, networks like CNN and The Griot and, so forth, MSNBC, to do her own talk show. But it doesn't seem like she's been really doing that talk show. I haven't seen a whole bunch from her since. And her husband left whatever he was doing to start a cannabis business. with all of this housewife fame, you would think that that's cool. They can jump on to that. Here's my thing. I think that she should have kept her job at Johns Hopkins and still did her political commentary, because that is more interesting than becoming just another like housewife casualty. And when I say that, is like you're doing anything and everything to stay relevant, to stay on the show so you can continue making the money that, you know, they claim they make. I don't know how much they actually make. And, you know, change their whole outlook. Even Wendy has changed herself. If you look at her when she first started the show to now, she's not the same person. I know we all change, but yeah, this situation is just weird. Because when you think about it too, Karen Huger, don't even get me started on her. Karen Huger, the queen of not taking accountability, the queen of acting as though she is all that and then some. And don't get me wrong, that woman be having her hair did and she be dressed, but she be in such denial. She's in such denial about her life, about everything, that it brought her to a point of getting arrested and put in jail for a DUI. And she just literally got out of jail earlier this year. And now the stuff with Wendy. Teresa Giudice. Remember her? The Real Housewives of New Jersey, which, by the way, they just put that show on hiatus. She did like 41 months in prison with tax fraud with her husband. This is what her husband did. You cannot think you're above the law just because you are on television. It's because you're famous. Baby, the rules still apply. And actually, they're worse when you're famous, because a lot of times people want to make an example out of you. They want to make sure that people that look up to you and see you, they realize that, yes, they committed these crimes, but if you commit them, this is what's going to happen to you in that. Okay. And even when you think about Jen Shaw, she tried to hide what she was doing with all that money and stuff. She's still sitting in prison right now for wire fraud. And this is just the tip of the iceberg. I'm pretty sure there's more stuff that we are missing right now. So here's my problem with this, okay? And I just said this earlier. Why do housewives think they're above the law? Like, man, you're not untouchable at all. You're not Olivia Pope. This is Bravo. And Andy Cohen ain't taking no charges for you. Andy Cohen will just, oh, they got to go. And that's what's happening. Matter of fact, since this Wendy news dropped, what I read online, I know this sounds gossipy, but this is what I read online. Apparently, they picked back up the cameras to record what's going on. And they canceled the first episode of the Housewives Wife Swap since Wendy was arrested. Are we going to get this series? Are they going to do with this series as they did with Real Housewives Girls Trip? You know, that series is gone because of Brandy Gladfield and Caroline, what's her name? From Real Housewives, Manzano. Yes, Caroline Manzano. I need to get all these names right while I'm up here talking about people. That old franchise went away. Like, we don't even get that no more. And it was actually kind of fun. And so, yeah, you're on Bravo. You're not above the law. You need to follow the law accordingly. And this is why I said that I'm kind of disappointed in Wendy, personally. I know she's going to explain herself till she blue in the face. But I'm disappointed in the fact that she let what she already had go in order to be on this show. And I don't even know if that's real, but it just seems like as soon as she got a little bit more famous on the housewife side, all the other stuff that she was working on is just like no longer valid. Like, I wanted to see more of her being a professor and working with other students and bringing up the next generation of future leaders, you know, or, you know, her commentary, being a Black woman talking about political views on shows like CNN, or networks like CNN, MSNBC, The Griot, being in magazines discussing these things. I think that there was a bigger calling in that. And for her to change all that up, because life changes, it's kind of disappointing, because it's like she's going down the same road as every other housewife that's on there. And it doesn't make it as exciting to see this Black woman on television. I'm gonna be honest with you. In that, I'm not excited to see a lot of the Black women on television, because a lot of times they're being petty and they're fighting with each other, but that's a whole nother subject. So honestly, when you zoom out, it's wild and it's messy. It's wild how much this franchise has become so messy. It's like a social experiment that has gone really, really bad. The lawsuits against Andy Cohen, cast members suing Bravo, Nene Leakes, anyone? It doesn't feel like reality television and more like a case study in chaos, because these women will do anything to stay relevant, even if it means breaking the law, but not actually getting caught in doing that. So I guess we'll eventually find out the real tea on Wendy's situation. I just really wish these women would stop breaking the law. Just follow the law so you can still be famous. Live a life of luxury, but do it legally. Okay. If you have a fulfilling career, well, maybe, and maybe that's why Wendy left. Maybe the career wasn't fulfilling her anymore. But if you have a fulfilling career, if you have like with all these great things going on before you start reality television, don't give it up just to do reality television. Like, find some way to incorporate that, because sometimes the mess gets too much. It gets way too much. So at this point, Bravo probably could drop a whole series called The Real Housewives of Prison. And it would trend. Matter of fact, I would watch episode 1 until the end. Not that I want to see any of these women in prison. All right. So as we wrap this up here, there is a through line with all these stories. Ayesha Curry showed us it's okay to redefine what you want in life. Taylor Swift reminded us that growth and change are necessary if you want longevity in any industry, in anything that you do. And the Housewives, they are a cautionary tale of what happens when you start thinking you're untouchable. Yeah. Because I ain't going to jail. Big Bertha ain't coming for me. I'm going to follow the law down to the T. So the truth is, confidence, accountability, and evolution. Evolution are the themes here. Whether it's relationships, music, or fame, you can't skip those lessons. Like, you're gonna get something out of this. So I'm gonna leave y'all with this pop-off question. Do you think women, whether celebrities or everyday folks, are held to unrealistic expectations to do it all? And is that why we see so many meltdowns in public? Ooh, child, I can't wait to hear what y'all think. Of course, drop your thoughts in the comments. Share this with a friend. And thank you so much for rocking with me 4 episodes in. We are just getting started, because eventually I think I am going to pay somebody to edit these episodes and get them out faster to you. You guys enjoy your week. And I can't wait to share the next episode with you guys. Bye.